All right, we're looking at another live album from Devin Townsend, and I always love his live venues. The amount of energy he brings, the amount of oomph and metal prowess. Well, we don't get a whole lot of that on this one, so let's just dive in. Devolution Series number 1, Acoustically Inclined, live in Leeds by Devin Townsend. That's a mouthful if there ever was one for a project. So this is part of Devin's kind of outpour of musical expressions within the past couple of years that he's unearthed, kind of in one way to help finance some of his other projects, because there's no touring going on, so there's no revenue or income coming in terms of a live venue. So he and the record studio have kind of dove into some of his more recent live albums and live outputs, and this is part 1 of kind of that series. And it's a good thing that he started off with this one. I think this is a really good way to start off this whole endeavor to help finance his next 2 projects, I believe Puzzle, as well as what's the other one that he's been working on? He's been working on 2 in this whole lockdown, which I'm very, very excited for. So this is kind of to help finance those projects. Originally, this was released as one of the bonus materials with the big Empath Ultra Deluxe version. So there's a few individuals out there that have probably already heard this, outside of those who are actually in attendance of this live concert. And it's good. It's good. It's one of those live concerts that is interesting. Like, it's not those big showy things that we had from the Retinal Circus or from live at the Roy Thompson Hall. This is a much more acoustic, and I mean, it's acoustically inclined. It's essentially just him and the acoustic guitar. So what really shines on this project is his voice, his songwriting ship, and his ability to really stretch the acoustic soundscapes. And he's doing a lot of really, really big tracks on here, like Funeral and Deadhead, as well as Terminal and Solar Winds. But he's also doing things that lend itself very well to the acoustic guitar, and things that he's already done on past live performances by strapping it down a little bit more, such as as well as Hyperdrive. These ones have already kind of been presented as these more acoustic, just singer-songwriter things. And what I also love is that he does tracks that would already lend themselves very well to an acoustic setting, such as Let It Roll, which is the opening of, I believe it's Synkestria? Yeah, I want to say that's Synkestria. As well as Coast. I like the fact that he's kind of doing a smattering of a whole bunch of different kind of expressions, and a good breadth of his musical discography, such as Funeral and Deadhead from Ocean Machine, but even going so far as doing things from Strapping Young Lads, such as Love. So it's really interesting to see the breadth of the material that he's done, because there's not a whole lot of like newer material. I think the most recent item from this material would probably be from Addicted, because there's nothing from Epic Cloud or anything from the Devin Townsend project. I'm surprised that we don't have anything from Ghost on here, if I'm being perfectly honest, because Ghost and even Casualties of Cool lend themselves perfectly to an acoustical set, and I still haven't heard anything from Ghost in a live setting outside of By a Thread, which he does the whole thing. I love the musical presentation that we have on this. I love how intimate it feels. Devin's voice soars so very often on this, and it really showcases he's able to scream his balls off, and we have that very much on Deadhead, as well as Funeral, and Terminal being another one, as well as Things Beyond Things. But we also have the very heavenly voice from Let It Roll, Hyperdrive, and Coast. And I also love his ability to connect with an audience. I don't think he gets enough praise for his audience banter and his audience connectivity, because this is something that Devin really shines through, even though I know that it causes a little bit of anxiety for him as a performer. But honestly, I think it really does show his ability to connect with an audience on this one, because he really spends his time, talking about his songwritingship and the evolution of, going from strapping young lad to his own stuff and working and workshopping other songs. And he spends also quite a bit of time talking about life in general in terms of, for 15 minutes a month, life is good. And you got to hang on to those 15 minutes because after that, oh no, it just kind of goes. And he also has within songs itself, a little bit of like a stream of consciousness, especially with Solar Winds, where he's talking about just like the stream of consciousness, whatever's coming to his mind at that moment. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I don't think that this is one that I would necessarily run out to get. This is definitely more of like a fan favorite kind of an album in terms of acoustic sets. There's nothing in his live discography up until this point that's quite like this. The closest might be his Order of Magnitude, which is the Empath Live Volume 1. But even then, like, this is just a strictly acoustic set. And I applaud him for releasing this, and I applaud him for doing this on the road. I don't think that this is going to stand toe-to-toe with some of my favorite ones, like the Retinal Circus or even Order of Magnitude, but it is one that I will put on for like a Sunday afternoon. It's one that I will enjoy the craftsmanship of it, but I don't necessarily know if it's one that I would immediately run out to seek. Like, this is one, as I mentioned, for the fans rather than for the occasional listener. And I think fans are really, really going to love this one. So I would check it out. This one, at the end of the day, gets a download for me. I think that there's enough on here to justify its release rather than I don't want to say cash grab, but something for the fans. At the end of the day, that's kind of what it is. And I still enjoy it. Like, it's one that I would go out and download for myself to listen to whenever I could. So that's about it for, and this is a mouthful again, Devolution Series number 1, Acoustically Inclined, live in Leeds by Devin Townsend. It's coming out in a couple of weeks, I believe, at the end of this week, actually. So if you've heard it, let me know of your own thoughts about this. If you haven't heard it, give it a spin and let me know if you loved it, if you hated it. Let me know all about that by commenting down below. And if you like what you see and you want to help support me, consider donating to my Patreon. I left all that information down below. You get your name at the end of the credits. So yeah, it'll be great. And there's other tiers that you can donate to. I will eventually start live streaming again once my life finds its path back to normalcy. And once that all hits up, I'll be starting that off all again. So yeah, that's what I've got. Thank you all so much for watching. You are always a pleasure, and I just love interacting with you guys. So let me know of your own thoughts, commenting down below. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.
See